All right, welcome back, fourth grade Reds. Here we are at day 2 of week 3. Let's go over yesterday's exit ticket. 6/8 equals 12 what? Okay, so we had to figure out what we were multiplying the 6 by to get that 12. So to do that, I did my 6 times tables. 6 times 1 got me 6. 6 times 2 got me 12. Bingo. Meaning I'm multiplying 6 by 2 to get 12. So I have to do the same thing to the 8. 8 times 2 gives me what? Which is 16. 8 times 2 equals 16. So the missing number is 16. The missing denominator specifically is 16. So today we're going to move to identifying which fraction between two fractions is larger. There's a couple different ways of doing that. Actually, there's a few different ways. But I'm going to show you one called the common denominator, which you should be familiar with, that is probably most successful. Has like 100% rating on it. Okay? The one strategy not so successful is drawing it out, which you guys, that's like the most common one students try to go to first. They try to draw it out. If I'm drawing this out, yes, 2/3. It may work for this one, where I draw 2/3, compared to, make sure the rectangle is the same length, compared to 2/5. Now this is where it gets tricky. I need to make sure I get my fifths to be about even, which is really tough. I straight in 2/5. Well, it really does look like 2/5 is smaller, which means 2/3 is larger. Visually, this works. But I guarantee you, this trick, this strategy of drawing it out will not work for the next one. Or even the one after that. So this is not going to work 100% of the time. But it's a great way to check your answers sometimes. Or if you have an easy one, to just draw it out and say, oh yeah, that 2/5 is less, 2/3 is bigger, 2/3 is larger, let's move on. That's strategy 1. Strategy 2 is to compare the numerators. The numerators are the same, so you're technically comparing the denominators. I'm all about pizza. Okay? So if I were to have a nice big pizza pie, right, 2 of them, which one, and I love pizza, hopefully you do too, which one will give me the most amount of pizza? So if I have this pizza that's split up into 3 parts, and I eat 2 of them, is that going to be, those pieces are going to be bigger or smaller than my 2/5? If I break this pizza pie up into fifths, and I eat 2 of them, right away I can see, pizza-wise, I'm going to want the one that has 2/3 because those slices are each bigger slices. So what does that mean? That means the larger the denominator, the smaller the piece. Okay, this piece, this 1/5 is smaller than that 1/3. So when your denominator, if your numerators are the same, 2 and 2, and your denominator is bigger, it's going to be smaller. Okay, so I could use this strategy. Once again, not all, it works, but can be challenging at times. A third strategy is I call the benchmark strategy. Okay, is you compare the number to a fraction, like a half or a whole or 1.5, a common general fraction. This one, I would have 0, a half, and a whole. Now, I'm going to ask myself a question. Which of these fractions is more than a half? Is one of these fractions more than a half, first off? Well, how do I figure that out? is this number more than half of the denominator? Is the numerator more than half of the denominator? Yes, it is. So that means 2/3 is somewhere on this side of my number line. What about 2/5? Is the 2 more or less than half of 5? It's less than half of 5. So 2/5 is going to be on this side of my number line. So using the benchmark strategy, I can see that 2/3 is larger than a half and 2/5 is less than a half. Therefore, I can conclude 2/3 is larger. But the strategy I really want us to focus on today is common denominator strategy. Okay? Because that's 100% bulletproof, I like to say. Works for all fractions no matter what they are. So here's how we do that. You find the common denominator between 3 and 5. You count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. We'll stop there for now. We might have to go more. And then count by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Which number do you see as the same here? 15. And how many, so now that I have a fraction with a 2/3 and 2/5, I need to turn them into equivalent fractions with the denominator of 15. So 2/3 with the denominator of 15 and 2/5 with the denominator of 15. Three times what number gives you 15? 5 times what number gives you 15? So this is a trick I learned from some 5th graders this past year. They wrote down up here at the top how many times it took them to get to that 15, in this case, that common denominator. So in this case, to go from 3 to 15, it took them 5 times. Whatever you do the denominator, you must do the numerator. So 2 times 5 equals 10. Here, how many times does it take me to get from 5 to 15? 3 times. So 3 times 3 is going to give me 6. So when common denominator strategy works like this, you see that 10/15 is larger than 6/15. Therefore, 2/3 is the larger fraction. Bruce Wayne, Batman. Clark Kent, Superman. Remember, they're equivalent fractions. Moving on to number 2, 1/5 or 2/9. So I'm going to give you a little head start here with this one. Count by 5s until you get a cut, and I would maybe go out pretty, no, you can go out to your 50 if you want. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. Do you see a number that's the same for both 5 and 9? Yes, 45. So that's going to be your new denominator for each fraction. So I'm going to turn 1/5 into something 45ths, 2/9 into something 45ths, and then see which one is larger. Go ahead and do that now. So first thing hopefully you ask yourself is how many 5s did it take me to get to 45, which was 9. 1 times 9 equals 9. So 9/45 is equivalent to 1/5. 9 times what gave me 45? I'm going to look up here. Oh, 5 of them. 2 times 5 will give me 10. So 2/9 is equivalent to 10/45. Look how small. The denominator was 45. with numerators of 9 and 10. That's really small. A picture would have never told me the answer there. There's no way I can even draw that kind of picture to really see which one was larger. But this strategy worked and will always work. So now I can see that 10/45 is larger than 9/45, therefore 2/9 is our larger fraction. Number 3, 3/5 or 4/10. Hit the pause button to solve this one, to see which one's larger. Do that now, please. Okay, so you might have come up with a different denominator than me. That's okay. You're still going to come up with the right fraction. It's larger. So I found the denominator to be 10, which means I only needed to change the 3/5. What do you mean by that? Well, 10 times 1 equals 10. 4 times 1 equals 4. So 4/10 never changes. How many times did it take me to get from 5 to 10? 2. Which therefore you do 3 times 2 gives you 6. You see that 6/10, which is equivalent to 3/5, is larger than 4/10. So 3/5 is your larger fraction. Number 4, 3/4 or 6/7. Which one's larger? Go ahead, find the right multiple that finds you the common denominator, find equivalent fractions, figure out which fraction is larger. Hit the pause button to do that now, please. So hopefully you found the denominator to be 28 here. And then you hopefully asked yourself, how many 4s did it take me to get to 28? 7 of them. So therefore you do 3 times 7 to give you 21. Then you asked yourself, how many 7s did it take me to get to 28 here? 4 of them. 6 times 4 is 24. So you have 28, 21 28s, and 24 28s. You see that 24 28s is the larger fraction. Therefore, 6/7, your equivalent fraction, Clark Kent, Superman, Clark Kent being bigger than Bruce Wayne. Clark Kent always wins. All right, so 6/7 being your larger fraction there. And once again, if you don't like the terminology of Batman and Superman, think Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus. Equivalent fractions, same person. All right, thank you for your participation today, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.